How are business processes and information systems related? If you ever said a system doesn't work, this video is for you. Here is why great tech still fails without this key connection. In a moment, I'll show you what most people get backwards when choosing systems. By the end of this video, you will understand how your systems and processes must align, and how to ensure that they are actually supporting your goals as opposed to creating confusion. Here's a key point that I'm going to share with you that is very important to understand to ensure the success of your systems and processes. Systems support process execution, and it is not the other way around. So let's go over some definitions here. Process is what happens. Systems is how it happens. So the systems build on top of the processes. You first of all have to define what happens, or what is supposed to happen, what is going to happen, and then you build the systems to make it happen. If you follow that sequence, you will be successful. If you try to reverse it, it will create chaos and confusion. So first of all, let's define the difference between process and systems. There is a lot of similarities, and sometimes we refer to it as the same word. But here I would like to differentiate. So a process is what happens. It's basically the step-by-step on how you can execute, how you can go from point A to point B. Systems, or information systems, are basically the technology that you will use in order to make it happen. So let's take a very simple example. Let's say you are making a cheeseburger. So the process will be the step-by-step. You go to the store, you buy the ingredients, you have a recipe, you grill the meat, you do this, you do that, step-by-step until at the end, and then you eat the cheeseburger and you have it. That's the end of the process. If you need a system, the systems that you are using will be the grill, it will be the refrigerator, it will be like the different aspects of it that you need to use in order to execute the process. You can also use the word system, like I have a system on how to do it. Like, my system is that I basically, first of all, take the bun out and I put it in the toaster, and then I grill the meat, and then I put the meat, and then I put the condiments on top of it, and the lettuce and the tomato, and I put it together. So that's your system. That's something you're doing every single time, but you're executing a process. But if you don't have the process, you can't really execute the system, because you don't know this exact sequence of what is it that you're going to be doing. So the point being is that when we are talking about information systems, the systems should support the process and not the other way around. Let's take the example of the cheeseburger. As an example, if you actually bought, let's say, a grill that operates in a certain way, but it's not exactly the way that you want to grill your burger, you would be forced to grill the burger in a certain way because the system can be modified or changed. So now you had to change the process to adapt to your system. But if it was the other way around, and if you knew and defined your process first, and you figured out the way that you like to grill your burger, then when you go shopping for a grill, you can explain exactly how you like to grill your burger, and then you will buy the system that will actually align with your process, and you won't have to modify your process to match the system. And that applies to any area. Let's say you are a photographer. If you have a certain camera that can only do certain things, you might have to adjust the way you take pictures, so your process will have to change to match the system. But if you want to take a certain type of photos, then you know your process, and then you will align the system, or you will try to get a system that will align to your process. So the moral of the story is that you have to start with the process. You have to define the process, optimize the process, and I have several videos where I explain how to define processes, how to optimize the processes, roll out the processes to the team, and then align your systems to execute the process that you want. Now, sometimes you won't be able to find the right system, or the system that aligns with your budget that you don't want to create from scratch. That does not mean you cannot use that system. What it means is that you have to go back to your process, assess where you have to change the process to align with the system, and then knowingly change it and know that the output might be a little bit different, but that's okay because you decided that that's the way it's going to be, and you saw that there is greater benefit aligning the system to the process. But again, you are the driver and you decide to do that, so you're not surprised at the output. So remember, define your processes and then find the systems. So now that we define systems and processes, I want to make a note that one definition of systems is indeed processes. It's basically an organized way of doing something in a repeatable way. I'm referring to information systems, which refer to software and hardware that is being used in order to create some result or that applies to an application or a computer program. So when we're talking here, we're talking about what comes first: systems, information systems, which will be any technology, or the process. So your information systems are only good as they support the processes. So in the next video, I'm going to go over how to optimize those processes. So when you have your systems, your information systems, they're actually going to work great because the processes are going to be optimized. I'm Adi, the founder of Business Success Consulting Group, where we help optimize, document, and implement your processes and procedures. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch the rest of the content.